take a look at this. So this is a UC Irvine professor detained at a pro-Palestinian protest at UC Irvine yesterday.
Protesters. Faculty member. I'm a tenured professor. And undoing a democratic, peaceful protest. Shame on them. Shame on them.
Ma'am, what department are you in?
I'm in the Global Studies Department.
And why are you here today?
Because we cannot have a genocidal foreign policy in a democracy. These young people are going to be the ones that have to pay the price for these horrible decisions. These police officers out here today, that's thousands of student scholarships. Thousands of students could have been able to go to school and have books and have housing. But instead, our chancellor, who is a very cruel man, decided to send thousands of dollars worth of state funding paid for by the taxpayers into the trash.
Are you concerned about this jeopardizing your job?
For real. What job do I have if the students don't have a future?
She asks, are you concerned about your job after this? What job does she have if the students are arrested? I want to remind you guys, like, I have the full coverage from ABC 7 and Fox 11 Los Angeles. Throughout all of this, the people in the CUNY library, or sorry, the UC Irvine library building that they occupied, were told to disperse. And they did. It was empty when the police got there. The encampment was cleared out. The people who were being arrested were community members that came out to show solidarity with their community. But the police looked at people who were not, doing an encampment or an occupation of a building or a grounds. They saw the people out there lawfully protesting peacefully. We're like, oh, we're out here now. We might as well get some OT. Might as well. We broke out all this shit. The school has buses for students on campus to transport them. And instead of just continuing transportation operations, decided to divert that operation to aid in police, loading people that they were arresting on their buses to bring them to jail. Whenever I was talking to FD Signifier, and this is also in both our conversation on my YouTube and the Angola video, we talked about how private prisons and public prisons are not profitable enough to operate on their own. The profitability comes in not just the military-industrial complex that American policing and incarceration are deeply intertwined in, but it is in the social control, ensuring that people accept their dogshit conditions.
It's an honor to be arrested.
For human rights.
Did you come out here to get arrested?
If students did not stand up, if protesters did not stand up, willing to get arrested, willing to risk their careers, women would not have the right to vote.
Are you a student?
Society would not move forward.
Are you a student?
I'm a community member for the third time.
Okay, where are you from?
That's all I want to say.
We heard that people took over a building.
That's all I want to say. I'm here as a community member. I personally
Every time I was watching Brett's coverage, every time they asked somebody, well, we heard they took over a building. Who cares? The mayor of the city of Irvine said that these are unarmed, peaceful protesters lawfully assembling. It's a shame that peaceful free speech protests are always responded to with violence. Taking space on campus or in a building is not a threat to anyone. UCI leadership must do everything they can to avoid creating a violent scenario here. These are your students with zero weapons. Comments make me want to heave. Figures the mayor would be on Team Antifa and pro-Hamas. Yeah, always. This is probably the only mayor I have seen that has had the correct take. Not,
people have a right to protest, but don't get violent.
Not,
please respect our law enforcement officers.
This is the first time I have seen an elected official within this context saying, if it turns violent, it's because of the police. How are police not expected to follow the local mayor's instructions? I encourage you to look to We Own This City, the Baltimore Gun Trace Task Force. That explains very well how police are not there to serve the community. They are a self-serving institution full of reactionary, paramilitary divorcees. Police can see a statement. I believe the mayor was actually at the university trying to get the police to like back down. They do not take orders from the mayor. They do not take orders from the district attorney. They take orders from themselves. Police protect Capitol. Let there be no greater example than what has been happening at these protests. Because these protests are not calling to like arrest all like Israeli Americans because of guilt by association. They're not asking to arrest any politicians. They are saying they should ask to arrest politicians. We want to stop having our taxes go to doing an occupation, doing apartheid, doing genocide. We want to stop being culpable in this. We want action to be taken to like respect human rights. But because those human rights are violated at the behest of Capitol, it's if this was not directly beneficial to companies like Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and Google, if it was not profitable, it would not be happening. Oracle literally called their HR application human capital management. Yes. And also remember, when 28 Google like programmers protested in their offices saying we're not going to like do coding that's going to be used to kill Palestinians, they were fired immediately. They were fired immediately and they were hauled off in a paddy wagon. Police protect Capitol. Police unfortunately have the legal protection to use deadly force when they perceive a threat. The moment these schools call cops on their students and faculty, they have the understanding and complicity that they might get killed. It's fucked. Yes, there is a Supreme Court ruling, if I can't remember what it was, a Supreme Court ruling that cops do not have a duty to intervene. They don't have a duty to intervene when they see you being brutalized. That's why the context of the UCLA counter-protesters beating the shit out of people is so infuriating. Another university president placed on leave after he agreed to protesters' demands to involve them in university decision-making. California State University placed Sonoma State campus president Mike Lee on leave Wednesday after he agreed to protesters' demands to involve them in university decision-making and pursue divestment from Israel. Keep in mind, this was also, just like Columbia, the student government voted for this. They voted in favor of pursuing divestment. Democratic means within institutions, you have the privilege of paying to be there. And the student government said, we want to do this. We agree with this student organization. We agree with their demands. And Lee said, okay, well, we'll involve you in it. Keep in mind, his decision was cynical. We're going to keep you involved in looking into our books, and we're going to move towards divestment. Not, I'm going to make a phone call to our asset manager on Wall Street, and he's going to not just give us our, disclose our investments, but we're also going to cancel all investments that are involved in Israel. He didn't say that, which is something he could do. Every one of these universities could make a single phone call and answer all of the demands. And law enforcement officers tackle and violently detain pro-Palestinian student protesters at UC Irvine, while other officers aim less than lethal munitions into a crowd. Yeah, look at that. These things kill people. Less than lethal is not non-lethal. These things kill people. And look at this dude, just pointing it at their heads. You were supposed to bounce these off the ground, and like it hit them in the leg.
Good afternoon, Alex Michelson, Christine Devine here from Fox 11 News. We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming for some breaking news from the University of California, Irvine, where right now we see a whole lot of law enforcement moving in, where there has been an encampment of pro-Palestinian students and activists for some time now. Some of those students have moved to occupy a
those aren't normal cables that the students buy. These were military-grade cables.
Building. And that's where the problem lies. And there is movement right now by law enforcement to try to get those people out of there.
So we have been covering these pro-Palestinian encampments at different universities across the country. Obviously, things really got heated up at USC and UCLA, so this is not new to us. The difference today is with that tent.
Oh, by the way, Another person from UCLA, the Zionist mob, got outed. Here's the attacker, UCLA board slammer, with and without the toupee. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Notice the mole under his right eye. Wow. Just wow.
City, you might call it, that was set up by those students. They have now moved into, as Alex said, that science building, and that's where the university kind of steps things up for themselves as well. We've seen those umbrellas before, like we saw at UCLA. We see students, which looks like they have their arms locked together. Not the largest, Alex, of groups there compared to...
Not the largest, but hey, why not send the entire Irvine police force out to go fucking brutalize these college kids and faculty? Why not?
UCLA or USC. But again, we have seen these happenings at different campuses where in other places they have gone into other buildings, for example, back east.
So because this is a University of California campus like UCLA, it is under the jurisdiction of UC Police.
Not just Irvine, it was 8 county police forces.
It is not jurisdiction of Irvine Police or Orange County Sheriffs. It's UC Police, which is a state force. The biggest state force is CHP, which is why
You modeling this shirt is gold. Thank you.
CHP took the lead in breaking that up. We have seen UCPD on site. We also...
I feel like not naming your merch store Agit Shop is a missed opportunity. You're right.
Have seen some of the CHP officers and Orange County Sheriff and other law enforcement agencies which have been called in by the state for aid. So
being a cop must be so embarrassing right now. You sign up to protect lives, but you're now having to clap students for peacefully protesting. No, dude, they're not embarrassed by this. They love this. They love any opportunity to use their toys. That's why cops so quickly tase and mace and beat the shit out of people and shoot them. They love using their toys. And an opportunity for them to do like siege warfare on students, they love that. Who do you think taught them how to do kettling and corralling? It was the IDF. Police, politicians, institutions of power, all of them respond to your morally righteous calls for justice with violence because it is their backs against the walls, not yours. Hold fast, protect each other, be water. Oppression always falters, solidarity does not. The reason I say this, when Nazis are marching in the street, you don't see a police response that's violently cracking down on them. When there are motherfuckers that are beating the shit out of protesters, the police stand back and watch because it doesn't threaten them. They stand right beside them. Yeah, you don't even see a police response. But the massive calls for divestment, for sanctions, for, war crimes tribunals, or an end to apartheid, or arrest warrants against Netanyahu, for Joe Biden to step down, the reason that they react to you that way is because it threatens them. It corners them because they know that there is no justification for it. So they lie, they smear, they slander you, they abuse you, they arrest you, they take away your career opportunities because they are afraid of you. It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel that way, but I hate to do the liberal thing of, quoting one of my favorite, pop culture mediums, but oppression is the mask of fear. That is true. All oppressive structures, be it police, the military, capital, push back against the calls for justice and people uniting around those calls. They push back against that because they fear losing power. They fear losing status, their wealth, their position. They fear what actual justice looks like because it's not good for them. They are afraid because when you are accustomed to a lifetime of privilege, equality looks like oppression to you. When you stand above people, When they start looking like they're at your level, you feel like you're losing. All of the people who are arrested at UCLA, at Columbia, at UC Irvine last night, most of their charges is like petty trespassing. At most, you pay a fine, or they're let out. The overwhelming majority of the people arrested at Columbia had all of their charges thrown out by a judge because of lack of standing. There was nothing in the charges based on any of the people that were arrested that would make sense to pursue further charges or prosecution. It is an intimidation tactic.